Hey, welcome back to Mobility Project. Happy Thanksgiving. This, incidentally, is also the 5-year anniversary of San Francisco CrossFit. We're starting our 6th year thanks to all our athletes and all our friends who've made this amazing project so life-affirming and incredible. We've been asked by some of our friends stationed in Japan to come up with a kind of top 10 list. Unfortunately, the list is exhaustive. What we've decided to do is go ahead and put together a piece, maybe we'll do lower extremity today and then hit upper extremity tomorrow, all right? So if we were going to just cull it down into very simple ideas, we're like, hey, do these stretches, don't understand their context, maybe don't even understand how they work, but do these things, they'll probably change. This is maybe what the list would look like today. Tomorrow it's a different list, and I'm sure I'm missing some very crucial pieces. So let's take you through it, and we're going to start with the very most obvious one, the most kind of important one I think is the hip capsule mode. So just a quick run through, lateral distraction in the hip, wind that thing up, get into the corner, see if you can think of yourself what you'd be working on. Externally rotate the leg, bam! Press that hip to the side, grinding through the capsule. Kind of lining up, that'd be one. And this really is going to help flexion and restore that capsular motion. Number 2, still thinking about working on into flexion and squatting, probably is going to be starting in a single squat, biasing flexion first, right? And then adding the external rotation, and then hunting through those positions. That'll probably be number 2. Number 3 will be to go ahead and collapse down into full external rotation, or do it up on a bench, and then from this position, load, tension the hip, all 3 directions, kind of really looking forward all the way over into those corners. That'd probably be 3. Number 4 will be, bam, the couch stretch. That's right. Let me move my daughter's homework. Winding that hip up. You know it, I know it, we love it. This one has 2 positions. So 4 is press the hip to the ground into those corners, come up tall, open the hip up here. If you're doing 2 minutes apiece, you can see this is a 20-minute routine, right? We've got to add a little bit different bias on that. We walk over here. We get hip capsule in the back. You see what we've covered in 90 plus days. There's a lot here. Remember, our conjugate model of mobilizing is to keep having different stimulus, hitting different things all the time. Samson, with this kind of the band being pulled forward, open up the hip, bias those corners, squeezing the butt, really hit that anterior hip. Whoa. And if we're in that position, we've got to talk about here, really exaggerating a straighter leg, hitting the internal rotation, the back leg here, and hitting forward. I don't even know where we are, that's at 7, right? Hitting in this corner, opening up the hip. Then we have to talk about this lateral hamstring. Any variation in this position, going for a good cold fashion contract, relax, dropping down if you wanted, open up the hip, try to contract, relax into these corners, and just rotate through those different various hip positions. So back straight, full forward, load and tension, kind of come in, looking for those different corners all the way through that piece. We've got to talk about calves. You've got to throw a shoe on for this bad boy. I'm not going to lie, turns out the red shoes are very popular with the older ladies at the TSA when I go through security. Didn't know, but that's the number 1 reason to wear red innovates. Foot goes up, 2 positions here, bring the hip to the wall. Second one is knee to the wall, kind of exploring kind of more gastroc. In this position, hip to the wall, and then knee to the wall, kind of hit some of those distal heel cords. And then we're probably into what we think is really relevant. Yesterday we added a variation with the band. We probably got to get into the groin at some point, some way. Hit those adductors up against the wall. That would be, I think we're like 9 or 10 now. Widening that foot up into this position, that's going to hit this. Then you can see why this is so exhausting, why people don't tend to start. But if you're going to make a list of just basic maintenance, at some point you got to pull the ball out, you got to stick the ball into your butt, rolling into those corners. I think that's really important to unglue some of those hamstrings, and especially the glutes, kind of this high hamstring piece, right? Right at the insertion, open up through here, rolling through the glutes, kind of thinking high hamstring hip, high insertion into the glutes, and then you got to walk around and probably really legitimately unglue this TFL, that tensor fasciae lata. So throw on the ball here, unglue yourself into that position. All right? So there's a list of what I would say are minimal. The problem is it's not any critical thinking. This will get you started. Certainly, if you spent 20 minutes kind of ticking off this thing, problem is by the time you hit each one of those, you're probably looking at a 30-minute stretching routine. And my problem is that I have a little bit of stretching ADD. Think critically about what you think you would add to that list. Post your suggestions in the comments. What was your ultimate list be? The problem is we need more of everything, right? If you're going to be that Russian coach cueing more of everything, right? And that's what you need. If you're going to be a weightlifting sprinter gymnast, if you're going to be a Navy SEAL, crossed with an Olympian, wrapped in a suit of body armor, or special forces guys crossed with a cheetah, wrapped in a battle tank, what's it look like? You're going to hit your own kind of needs. You're going to hit your own goats, for lack of a better word. You're going to have to get after those things. But what does that look like? You know, the key is to have a little discussion that constantly changes. But that would be a very minimum baseline for lower extremity. Tomorrow we'll give you our upper extremity stuff. Happy birthday, San Francisco CrossFit. Happy Thanksgiving to you guys. And as you go around the table, look everyone in the eye and be sure to say what you're thankful for, all right? Thankful for you guys. Talk to you tomorrow.